And welcome into the Fun Astrology Podcast. It's Wednesday, May 6th. Hope your week is going well so far. Okay, as promised yesterday, delayed from Monday, let's talk about kind of this overview of the rest of really the next 2 weeks that sets the stage much for the rest of the year. Quick check of the chart today before we dive into that. Our grand trine from yesterday, because it involved the moon, has moved on. Now the moon is opposite Uranus, fairly wide orb, but it is opposite Uranus, and it's square Saturn. Ooh, and the moon has moved into Scorpio. So we've got a Scorpio moon square to Saturn sitting at the magical 1 degree in Aquarius, where it's getting ready to go retrograde here in a few days. We'll talk about that. And it's opposite Uranus. Ugh. Okay, so I'll just go on to our projected thing that we said we would talk about today. I'm jumping off of that one. Let's stay positive and just realize that there is an energy there that could be a trigger. So, okay, let's just see. All right, here's kind of, let's set the stage. And don't try to capture all of this. First of all, we'll pick it apart as it happens. Just get a big picture of, let's take one step back to take 3 forward. One of the things that I wanted to set the stage with are these lunar eclipses. There are several eclipses that we're going to be talking about through the rest of the year, but in order to get the context of those, we have to remember that the first eclipse of 2020 happened on January 10th. That was a penumbral lunar eclipse in Cancer, and it was 2 days away from Saturn-Pluto. So we all know what that did. I mean, opposite sign, lunar, trigger, eclipse, boom. It just was a complement to the absolute triggers of Saturn, Pluto, Mercury, Mars, Jupiter. Oh, and South Node, don't forget that. So we have a lot of eclipses scattered through here. So I mentioned that this next week or so, is going to be foundational for the rest of the summer. Here's what happens. Today, the moon moves into Scorpio. We have a full moon Thursday in Scorpio. On Sunday, the moon moves into Capricorn. That Capricorn. But I think the energy probably is diminished enough that when the moon goes in, like it has a couple of times since January 12th, that we won't experience too much angst from that, let's say. All right, another big day to mark is May 11th. Next Monday, Saturn turns retrograde from Aquarius, where it will track back into that Capricorn before it turns direct again September 29th. Okay, that's a big one. So now, as of Monday, we will have had the nodes change sign. Look at how much of what was in place in January has already been kind of crumbled, if you will. The nodes have changed signs. Pluto is in retrograde. Now Saturn in retrograde. Jupiter will be there soon. We'll get to that in a minute. Mars is gone. Mercury's gone. You know, it's a whole different dynamic now. Speaking of Mercury, it moves into Gemini on Monday, the 11th. And then Mars moves into Pisces on Wednesday. See all this juggling around that's going? So we're really next week. The podcast between now and next Thursday, is really going to be rich every day with new sign changes and everything. Venus goes retrograde next Wednesday, and Jupiter goes retrograde next Thursday. So there's the setup. So from today, we have full moon. Moon moves into Scorpio, full moon on Thursday. We've got Saturn retrograde Monday. Mercury moving into Gemini Monday. That's its own sign, by the way. Mars into Pisces on Wednesday. Venus retrograde. And then Jupiter retrograde on Thursday. Now, I mentioned these eclipses. So the next eclipse will be June 5th. That will be a lunar eclipse in Sagittarius. Then on June 21st, 2 weeks later, we have a partial solar eclipse in Cancer. That's going to be interesting because it's opposite all of those retrograde planets that will all be back in Capricorn. So Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn will be opposite that solar eclipse. That's going to be interesting this summer, June 21st. Neptune goes retrograde on June 27th. and then Jupiter and Pluto conjoin for their second time on June 30th. So we're setting the stage for that now, but June is going to be a really big month. July is fairly quiet. Then Uranus, of course, in Taurus, goes retrograde on August 15th. Mars goes retrograde September 9th. So that completes all of the planets going retrograde. In September, we also start to unwind the retrograde because Jupiter first will go direct on September 12th. Then we've already mentioned Saturn is next on September 29th, and then Pluto on October 4th. So kind of boom, 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 those three giants will turn direct again right at the end of September, early October. And then the number 3 Jupiter-Pluto conjunction will be on November 12th. And again, I know this is a lot of I'm just giving you the big picture of you can see how these dominoes are just going to keep coming at us. Because November 12th is the next big number 3 Jupiter-Pluto conjunction. 2 weeks later, on November 30th, is a lunar eclipse in Gemini. Then on December 14th, we have a total solar eclipse in Sagittarius. And then on December 21st, after Jupiter just leaves Capricorn, we have the great anticipated conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. And a lot of astrologers are saying that if there's going to be fallout from this, that is what really kicks off the next phase. I'm undecided on that one yet, so we'll just keep, certainly aware of it and looking out toward it, but we'll just see how things shape up along the way. But you can see that what we are experiencing between now and next Thursday really sets the course for the rest of the year, and we'll be unfolding it. These are amazing astronomical and astrological times. And I'm just glad that we're together on the ride. So thank you for joining us. I really do appreciate it. Have a great hump day. See you back tomorrow.